Today we are doing another requested video. This one is about visiting your Japanese partner's families for the first time. This is going to be very anecdotal. This is going to be about my experiences and some of my friends' experiences. So actually I did meet two of my ex's families with different, both times obviously it was very, very different. I want to preface this video by saying that people's expectation of meeting a family in Japan is kind of a little bit weird. I think about a lot of things in Japan, people have a very old Showa mindset. People think that Japanese people still go by a lot of the customs that they used to 100 years ago. A lot of people still believe that if your partner introduces you to their family, it means they want to get married. That is not true. I mean, Japanese people are pretty Western minded. I don't think this is a sign that they're going to ask you to marry them. And I've seen a lot of people post you should wear this, or you should do that, or blah 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 blah, you should bring a gift. These are all good tips, but in general, honestly, Japan's like any other country, and people's families are all different. Sometimes people's families here will be more conservative, sometimes they'll be more liberal, so it really depends on the family and who you're meeting. I'll start off by the first one, and this is my first relationship I had in Japan, and I actually made a video on him. The video is called My Terrible Japanese Ex-Boyfriend, and I actually met him last year again. We had a reunion after 9 years, I think, and he apologized and he said that he he felt bad about how everything went down, blah 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 blah, and I actually made a video about that too. I showed him the original video as well, and he thought it was really, really funny. So yeah, the first one was actually really, really interesting. I was dating a Japanese guy for a couple of months, and generally he was a really bad boyfriend. I mentioned this in the video before, but at first he was very, very normal, and then after a month he started drinking a lot, lying, playing pachinko, alluding to cheating, and all just generally every bad thing you can imagine, he was doing that. And so I realized that I was gonna nope out of the relationship. But then he one day he invited his mom to come meet us without even asking me. She just showed up. I remember that because he used to drive, and he picked his mom up in his car, and I met her, and then we drove and we just went to a cafe and chatted a bit. And yeah, she was really, really nice, just a very normal Japanese lady. She was like, "Oh, you're so cute, you look like a doll, blah 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 blah." She was really, really nice. She took an instant liking to me, and yeah, that experience was very, very positive. But this story has a very dark twist, because it seemed that guy, he didn't really want to be in a relationship, and that's fine. I didn't understand why he wanted to keep going. Clearly he just didn't want to be in a relationship. But then it turns out, after I met his mom, he said that he wanted us to move in together pretty quickly, and I was against this idea because I was living with my roommate who I liked a lot at the time, and I didn't really feel safe in this relationship. And he was like, no, okay, I'm looking for places, we're gonna move to Yokohama. I'd never even been to Yokohama before, so I was really not up for this idea. And he said, oh yeah, by the way, my mom's gonna be living with us. It turns out that his mom had been suffering from cancer, and the idea was that he wanted me to move in with them, and then I would take care of her. And he sprung this on me incredibly quickly, and it was just a bad situation. I felt very sorry for him, very sorry for her, but obviously he didn't want to be in a relationship. I think he was just he didn't know what to do, and he was looking for someone to take care of his mom. I don't know why he decided on a foreigner. Clearly this is a bad idea, because this was 9 years ago, and I didn't have the Japanese ability I do now. How would I take her to doctor's appointments? And we couldn't communicate 100%, and I feel when it's dealing with medical stuff and medicine, generally, if I'm going to be a carer, I should be able to understand everything I'm doing fully. I had the experience where I had to take care of my mom in Spain, and I had to do everything in Spanish, and it was wild. So I would not, this is such a bad idea. But we ended up breaking up. I remember he randomly proposed to me. It was very, very strange. I thanked him but said no, and then we ended up breaking up, and it was just really, really sad. I met him as I mentioned, last year, and it seems like I asked about his mum, and she actually did recover, so that's pretty good. I wonder if he found like another unsuspecting woman and just forced her to move in with them to take care of his mom. Because honestly, I just feel like what would have happened is I would have moved in with them. He would have been out all the time doing God knows what. I would be taking care of them, and so I wouldn't be able to make as much money. I'm not sure if he would be providing for us or like what. He did a pretty good job, but like, and I can just imagine like as soon as she got better, probably he would have ditched me. It's how I thought that was gonna go. Anyways, he did apologize for everything, so I guess that's one good thing. But yeah, that was the first experience, and I don't think that really counts, because that was more like a trap than like earnestly meeting your partner's family. So the second one, as I mentioned before, like I was in a relationship with a Japanese guy for around 6 years. It was like really serious. We're still very good friends to this day. No hard feelings. But yeah, so of course during that time I would meet his family. I met his mom like pretty early on. It was funny because his mom lived next to Sanrio and Pure Land, and because we were planning to go there on a date, he said, okay, we might as well just go pop in and see my mom, which is a little bit embarrassing because I was dressed up to go to Sanrio and Pure Land. So like the first time his mom met me, I was wearing like My Melody Lolita or something wild like that. So I feel like the first impression with her maybe wasn't great. Looking back, maybe I would have worn a different outfit, but honestly, like I genuinely believe like this is kind of my personality, and like she's gonna find out sooner or later that I dress a little bit more extravagantly, so better sooner than later. I think we had been dating like a few months at that point, maybe a little bit early to meet his family, but generally we were pretty serious, and we decided that, you know, like it was a pretty stable relationship, so I didn't mind meeting her. I was very nervous. Obviously she didn't speak English. Like I could speak enough Japanese, so it wasn't a problem, but of course it was just really nerve-wracking. And the first time I met her, it was kind of weird. Like I remember we went to her apartment and we knocked, and she's like, the door is open, and we went inside and sat down, and she didn't really say anything to me. Like she didn't really like introduce herself or anything. I don't know, I feel like she's probably felt awkward too, and like I don't know, like she probably hasn't had much experience with foreigners either, so it was just like the first time was like kind of awkward. Like normally when I meet people like that, I expect them to ask me questions and I answer, like, but she didn't really ask me any questions. So the first time we met, we didn't really talk that much. Honestly, like the first 6 months that I knew her, I met her a few times, but generally I feel like at first she didn't really, I wouldn't say she didn't like me, I think it was just like a lot for her. Like I can understand, like I'm a foreigner, I dress extravagantly, I can understand at first it was a lot. Like I think that she just thought that like we weren't gonna be serious, so she didn't like invest too much in whatever this was, so I can understand that part. But then I remember like it was on mine and my ex's anniversary, and we went to meet her afterwards, and she was at like this pub with her friends, and I found out that actually she ended up getting really into British culture and like punk music and like mods and like that kind of like era, 60s era, so that made a bridge into us kind of finding some common ground, because she would ask me all the time about like British stuff and fashion and like about my mom and like what kind of things my mom was. So that was actually like, honestly a good bridge. But then when I went there, I met her friends, and they're like, and all these aging Japanese guys are into like punk, and they dress like 60s style. It was really interesting, and I got on really well with her friends, and her friends were like, wow, like your son's girlfriend is really cool, blah blah blah. And I think at that point she actually realized, oh actually yeah, she's not, maybe Capsule Bunny is not so bad after all. And I remember that's the first time that she like hugged me, and I was really happy. And then after that our relationship got much better. It was funny because like obviously I've known her over the course of like 6 years, and at first I would hug her and she would kind of like struggle to get away or like just like freeze up. But then over time she would she would like reciprocate, and then towards the end she would hug me without me asking. So I thought that was really, really cute. And I noticed because she asked me to teach English to her brother's wife. So at one point I actually ended up teaching English to her brother's wife for a while, and that woman was great. She was like very, very open and very, very funny, and that woman, for some reason, whenever she used to meet me, she used to hug me. And so one time my ex-boyfriend's mom saw this woman run up to me and hug me, and it was like a light bulb went on in her head, and she was like, oh, I can do that too. And then after that, every time I used to see my boyfriend's mom, she used to just hug me, and it was really, really nice. Because like Japanese people they're not necessarily like with their families, they're not so super physical with like hugging and telling each other that they love them and stuff like that. I think that maybe it would be better if they did this a little bit more. And that's something that my ex brought up a lot, is that like he wishes that, you know, like his relationship with his mom, like they would have been a little bit more warmer. I don't know. So I think hopefully, if nothing else, I managed to bring his mom out of her shell a little bit, because sometimes she's a really, really nice woman. And then if you date someone in Japan, something you're definitely gonna have to do is you're gonna have to visit their family on New Year's. Like in England, we spend our time with family on Christmas, and in America, I guess it's on Thanksgiving. But in Japan, you spend time with family on New Year's or Oshogatsu. And so for like 5 years, every New Year's, I would go and visit his family. And that's honestly the most nerve-wracking thing. And a lot of my friends have said the same thing when they went to visit their partner's family on New Year's. It's just like, because it's like the whole family, so you're instantly meeting like 28 people, and there's children, there's babies, there's great grandpas, there's like, it's just a lot. But this first time I went there, and it was his grandparents' house, it was honestly really, really nice. His grandparents were very nice people, and they're very liberal and open-minded, so that was perfect. Like I really, really lucked out. So like they were really, really nice to me, and I would go there basically and just eat lots of food and sit down and chat with everyone. It was really, really nice. Like there was a lot of kids, obviously, so like the only thing is like they had to make me play like karuta, like the card game with the kids, and it's like they tell you like a poem, and then you have to hear the first hiragana character, and then you touch it. So it's like, obviously I would win because I'm a grown adult. And then so they would always be like, wow, see, you gotta try harder, you're losing to a foreigner. It's like, okay, maybe not say that, but so yeah, I did this like 5 or 6 years, and honestly I had a really nice time. I used to look forward to it a lot because I don't have a lot of family anymore, so it was really, really nice to have that kind of like familial interaction, particularly when you're in Japan for a long time and you don't get to see your own family. Honestly, it's nice. The funniest thing was his uncle. His uncle is known for being a little bit weird, like a little bit eccentric, and a little bit of like a delinquent in some ways, I guess. And I remember I went there 5 years, and every year without fail, his uncle would say in front of me, like he would just turn to me and be like, where's she from again? Every year. And then apart from one year when he started talking about like Paris and me being from Paris, I'm like, I'm not from Paris, I'm from the UK. And he's like, I thought Paris was in the UK. It's like, so yeah, he wasn't like the brightest, but he was nice. It was just really, really funny. And then I think after like the 3rd year, because I was a newcomer in the family, it was always like a little bit awkward, but the 3rd year, oh my god, his uncle married like a Japanese woman, and I think she's like from a super countryside place, right? So this woman is like not like a Tokyo person. Maybe she speaks in a little bit of a different dialect. She's was a little bit strange, and he married her, and no one went to their wedding. I think they like eloped. He met this woman, he married her, and he brought her back and introduced her on New Year's, and it was so funny. This woman came, she was really, really nice, but like really loud and outspoken, And she got like pissed drunk, I guess because she was nervous meeting his family. She got super drunk, and she kept crying and saying how it was so nice to finally have a family, and like hugging everyone and calling them like mom and dad and stuff. And like my ex's family are pretty liberal, but they're not that liberal. They were like, damn. And it was just so funny. I'm like, finally there's someone that's weirder than me in this family. Like, it totally like drew all the attention off me. It was great. And I remember she was like sitting next to me at the dinner table, and she was looking at me like, I've never been this close to a foreigner before. Like, I've never spoken to a foreigner before. Like, this is such a weird experience. And like touching my face. It was so funny. So yeah, generally overall it was a really nice experience. And when me and my ex broke up, his family still asked me to go around their house for New Year's, but I thought maybe it would be a little bit rude. But then after we broke up, we met his mom and had like a meeting with her about what happened, and it went a lot better than I expected. Like, his mom stayed super neutral, and like obviously like we argued about some things, and his mom actually called him out like a few times, like, maybe you should have done this or maybe you should have done that. Like, I was really surprised. Like, she was very neutral and understanding. And yeah, we actually mail a lot, like, and we still keep in contact even now. And like, since we've broken up, it's been like a couple of years, but she still comes and visits me like every few months. And on my birthday, she always gets me a birthday present. I always wish her happy birthday. It's like really nice. She like, when we broke up, she was like, I'm still your Japanese mom, okay? That's never gonna change. It was really nice. So like, even if you don't make the best impression at first, as long as you keep consistent and you're understanding and you're nice and you don't push boundaries too much, then I think that, yeah, you can have a very good long-lasting relationship. And like, relationships with boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, they don't always work out, and you will form bonds with their family. And just because you're broken up doesn't mean you have to break those bonds. Like, I mean, his mom still hang out, and sometimes I think it was last time my ex and his mom came over, I invited my elderly neighbor, and my boyfriend was here, and we all had like a takoyaki party, and it was pretty nice, honestly. So yeah, one thing I like super kawaii fashion, obviously. So when like his family are aware of this, but when I would visit them, I wouldn't go like OTT. Like, I would wear something cute but not like too stand outy. Like, personally, that's just me. I think like the important thing is compromise. Like, I won't change too much of myself or my personality or how I dress, but I do think it's important to compromise and to not push people's boundaries and try to make people feel as comfortable as possible. That's one of the only things I miss, because I remember on New Year's as well, like his family and me, we used to go to the local shrine by their house, and we used to do hatsumode and pray and eat good food and get our fortune and stuff like that. So the good thing is, like, I got to learn a lot about Japanese culture from meeting them and all the things that people do on New Year's. So yeah, for me it was incredibly positive experience, and I'm really glad that I can meet them. Meeting people's parents is always very nerve-wracking, but it's important to remember that they're probably also really nervous too, so you just gotta like take it slowly, and if everyone just tries to be as understanding as possible, then yeah, it will be fine. So yeah, let me know what you think of my story time, and if you have any questions, or if you have any of your own experiences meeting your partner's parents, or like meeting, particularly in Japan. Or I'm also curious about other countries too, because I know like British culture and Japanese culture are actually pretty similar, but I wonder if it's different in America. So as always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe!